Blame. I had blame that was not moving then, and I'm still healing it now. Besides blame for the mother, I had plenty of blame for the father of manifestation. I even felt that he was causing the mother's pain in the darkness by not letting me in there when he had sex with her. In other words, I felt that body and will were having sex without spirit and heart, and I was furious at them for this. On the surface, I thought I was acting as though it didn't matter, but underneath I was seething with rage. I hated them both for leaving me out and acting like they liked it better that way. I hated them so much, I had fantasies of killing them and getting a new mate and a new body. On the surface, I acted like love was all that I felt and that they had mine. But in a part of myself, I might add, I didn't care what happened to them, and worse, I had fantasies of what I wished would happen to them. To make matters even worse than that, it was happening to them in a state of denial, and I was not allowing myself to know it. The only knowing I really had of this was that I was continually nagged by guilt, telling me I should be more loving than I was. I continually tried to silence this guilt by allowing less and less expression of the feelings that I had judged to be unloving. Finally, I got to the point where I did not seem to have emotions at all anymore. Instead of deciding here that something was wrong, I decided instead that this had to be the solution. I had a fine time here as long as I didn't miss feelings, and my fine time went on for a long time because I had gotten very sick of feelings before I reached this point. I was in heaven, in fact, or so I thought, celebrating the success of my creation. I thought I had really done it. I thought I had gotten the creation I wanted to have and gotten rid of the thing that had made me so miserable in the beginning. I thought I had taken care of my problems with the Father of Manifestation too, by putting him out in manifestation and making it so that he couldn't reach me any more. He was in the role I wanted him to have, which was giving form to my creation and allowing me to withdraw my essence from forms I no longer wanted to experience. I was happy with this because I no longer had to feel trapped in manifestation. I had trapped body there instead, and when body felt he didn't want me to withdraw from him, the guilt he had over his role was there to tell him that his problem was his inability to accept his place in my plan. I did not allow myself to see that body didn't necessarily have a feeling of being finished with these forms when I withdrew my essence. I had not yet realized that I was leaving whenever I encountered a reflection I did not like. I told myself I was finished there and wanted a form change. Body's problems were increased here by the experience of feeling that he was not very interesting to me. Guilt told him I would stay longer if he served me better. I had guilt telling me it was not right to have body serve me in this way, but for a long time I did not listen. With will in such a severe state of denial, there was no communication between body and myself, and I wanted it that way. I made it appear that I was above him because I wanted to be. Even though guilt nagged me about this for a long time, I did not want to accept that this guilt was there. For as long as I could, I tried to appease this guilt in the hope that appeasement would silence it. I tried to appease my guilt by making nice things happen for body. I tried to make body accept the role of being king in his own realm. I gave body the impression that if he served me well, he'd have a nice life, and that if he didn't, he'd have a bad time. In the places where body felt afraid and guilty, body tried to please me. He knew that I blamed him for what was wrong with the manifestation. Even though I denied it to him, he was afraid that I was punishing him for what I didn't like about the manifestation of the spirits. Body also feared that even if I was not punishing him directly, I felt that he was getting what he deserved, and that I was allowing and perhaps even enjoying it, and thus body was also increasingly ashamed to face me and even sought to avoid me in certain areas. I had blame for body, but I didn't think that leaving him out in manifestation was punishing him for what had happened in the past. I thought I had let go of that long ago and moved ahead. I didn't realise lost will hadn't moved, and thus was stuck there. I thought that what was happening to body was not my fault. I saw body as suffering the results of his continuing imbalances, indiscretions, and extremes. Since my magnetic energy was gone, I wasn't holding anything present for long. Thus, I wasn't troubled by anything for long. I saw the key to my happiness as being able to let go of things. I did not see what the past had to do with happiness in the now. I did not see the role of conditioning with which the magnetic energy was struggling. I saw will and body as trying to please me with part of themselves, but thwarting me with the rest of themselves. I thought they were deliberately thwarting me, as though they took perverse pleasure in it. I saw it as a way of going against me. I had a dim feeling that in the places in which they thwarted me, they had rage against me, but I dismissed it as their problem. I thought they needed to mature spiritually. I thought that they needed to be pressured and disciplined more to align with me. They interpreted this to mean that I didn't think they were following Spirit's teachings well enough, and they feared even more that they were inadequate, while their denied rage also intensified. On the surface, they tried to please me more, but there was a tremendous amount of lost will moving out that was holding fear of unworthiness and inadequacy, and also rage that hated me for the way they were being treated. All of this lost will saw me as an unloving God who demanded an impossible level of perfection and punished heavily for the slightest infractions. Guilt has held this present for a long time because of fear of my rejection and my power. The mother and the father of manifestation talked about coming to me many times and telling me how they felt, but they were unable to come to me with these feelings because there was no acceptance for it. I had an aversion to them that was sufficient to keep me away from the mother and the father of manifestation for longer and longer periods of time. When we did meet, there was so much ground to cover, and we felt so overwhelmed by everything that none of us wanted to risk being the one to open this Pandora's box. We had intent to be loving with one another, and we did not know how much we were holding in a state of denial in our attempt to confine love to the narrow definition we were holding then. We were trying to help all the other spirits, and we hesitated to mention ourselves because we feared it was selfish. Healing had become the main focus of the Father of Manifestation's work, while the Mother was trying to help spirits learn how to maintain themselves better so that they wouldn't need so much healing work. The spirits, however, were unable to progress past any of the places where we were having trouble in ourselves.